I found myself basking in light rays, pulling in through from your window panes. I see clearly, the particles moving through the air, slow and reverberating, showing me what we share. I take a hit, and your smoke slips through my lips, filling my lungs. I'm burning with optimism. I never thought I'd see myself at this point. For miles I've ran, staring at life's complexities straight in the eyes. Coughing and choking, I swallow the guilt, slowed down, and found you within the new buildings I built.
All right, so we got Elliot on the show today. Thank you so much for your Untitled poem, right? Very nice. Untitled, I love it. So one thing I loved about your poem is a lot of poets, I feel like, write, about love and everything, but always in different ways. And I really like how you described it at the very end as a building that you found, your partner in, and, you were building it. It's like, oh, there you are, type thing. And I don't know. It also kind of felt like a journey. Is that kind of what you're feeling, from the point A to point B to the end of the poem? Like,
I think it's definitely about a journey, and it can be about love, but I don't think that it necessarily has to be about a love of a partner. I think that can kind of be up to your interpretation, but I think that's what I was kind of instilling into the poem. And maybe to a certain degree also like self-love.
Okay. That's kind of cool. Yeah.
Or maybe even like, I don't know, through self-love being able to connect with others.
And okay, yeah.
Did you write it all at once, or was it kind of like as you grew, you kind of like pieced it together?
I think that one I wrote all at once.
Okay. I really like that idea of it being, or even viewing it as a form of self-love, because I mean, especially there's some like tense parts of your poem. So on the journey to self-love, it's not always a comfortable, like cozy experience. There's some growing pains in there, and being surprised to find yourself in the end, it's like, oh, it's you. Right. Nice. It's you too.
Like, oh shit, you here?
Yeah. Hey, and
Here this whole time.
Yeah, and sometimes, at the end of the day, you're born solo, and you go out solo. So finding yourself in the building that you're building towards the end of your life is pretty sick.
Thank you.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, what would you say the overarching theme, other than because as you said, the idea is up to interpretation. But what would you say the overarching idea of like your poem is?
I think the overarching idea is, I think being able to take the time to experience whatever journey you're going through. I think that's also another like layer. I feel like, especially in the beginning, where it's talking about like dust particles and things like that, it's really taking the time to like see where you're at and what's happening.
Like when you're looking at the window and sun rays are coming through, and you're to really chill and look at sun rays and see the dust in there. You got to be pretty still for that.
Being present.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. No, that's awesome, because I feel like in our day to day, we spend a lot of time thinking about like what's like happening tomorrow or in the future or something like that. And I think it's Buddhism, where it's like happiness is a fleeting feeling, and pursuing that is useless. And taking the time to really appreciate the small things, whether it's good or bad, whether it's that like gnawing insecurity you may have, or that thing that you keep doing that you're just like, oh, shoot, but you work on it. It's appreciating those moments, and the culmination of that is like true peace or whatever, or self-actualization, self-love, whatever you want to dress it up as.
Do you find yourself kind of like trying to like appreciate the moment, like we're talking about? And if so, like, do you have a certain way of doing it, or is it kind of just something that comes naturally? In terms of being introspective,
I think that sometimes, I think it's something that comes naturally, but at the same time, sometimes it can be a struggle just because when there's a lot going on, I think it's just hard to pay attention in general. But I think, like, something that I definitely try to do, I don't know. I think being able to experience, like, the moment, like, through people, I think is something that I really enjoy doing. Or I think just taking the time to observe people and, like, seeing what's happening in the present in front of you is something that I really do too. I don't know. That's something I enjoy doing because just, people are funny. Like, a lot of interesting things happen.
That's a fact.
And you're just like, oh, I just saw that.
Yeah. It's like, I was there. For that.
Yeah. The other day I went to the gas station and just someone was just hollering. Like, it just, I don't know, I couldn't see them, but it was just just a hollering. And it's like, wow, I am outside, type thing. And the whole, with lockdown and everything, it's crazy when you're in isolation for so long, you kind of forget, what it's like interacting with people and or just observing people, and doing that thing. And that's a really, I mean, if anything, I feel like it's really easy to get out of the moment when you're like isolated for especially long periods of time. But when you get the shock of like, oh, they are on some other shit over there.
They are out here. They are ready.
It's like yeah, it's like echolocation. The reverberations bounce back to you. It's like, oh, this is the moment I'm in. And it can kind of ground you. For some people, it might be totally overwhelming. Like, I can't do this. Why is that guy hollering? What's that guy doing over there? I got to get back inside. But sometimes it's a nice reality check. And I mean, I feel like that journey of self love and everything. It's just a lot of big life reality checks. Just like it's a reality check with a very slow fuse, type thing until you get there. Like bookmarks, I forgot what it was. It's like every 5 years or so, your life will be significantly different than it was 5 years before. That's like I don't remember where that saying is, but it's like on that journey, you're gonna be going, and then you look back 5 years ago, it's like, damn, like I was not in the best place mentally, or now I'm like here. Not always the same story for everybody, but it's sometimes the cool thing about the journey isn't so much about getting there, but turning around and looking at how far you've went. And I think that's a
motherfucking bars.
I think that's a real cool part of your poem, because everybody who has seen like a building get built, it's just dirt. It's people milling around, and then like you come back a couple years later, it's a whole like dang. I don't know. Let's see. So upon the journey. What's the longest journey you've been on? Just physically, like
Physically,
like point A to point B.
Oh fuck, definitely Italy
Oh dang!
with her.
Talk about it.
Very nice, very nice.
And even like while we were there, like physically traveling, like we were completely on foot for most of the time.
Oh my god!
So we were just like.
So we're
in Italy, Jago, yeah.
Yeah. Where'd you guys go in Italy?
We went to Rome, and we walked all around Rome. Then we went to Florence by train. So then we took a train and went many, many miles to Florence and walked all around Florence. And then we went to like a very like small like mountain village area.
Now, like times in terms of time wise during that trip, like about how long would you say you guys have walked? Like from point A, like from one place to like the longest.
Did you say it's the first day in Rome? Yeah. We literally walked the entire city of Rome in one day.
Jeez.
I don't know how long that probably, I don't know how far that would have been. But yeah, we literally saw every single site, almost every single site there was to see like all around the city.
Oh, jeez. And what kept you guys going?
It was just so cool, dude.
That's sick. That's sick. That's very sick.
Yeah, you gotta see everything.
That was dope.
Hey, is that not life?
It was fucked up afterwards, though. I'm not gonna lie.
Oh,
like,
yeah?
I was like, our feet.
Hey, but it's like, when you're having fun, you're not even thinking about the feet until the fun button stops, and it's like, God. No, but that's incredible. I mean, I I don't know if I could walk around an entire city in a day, but
You could if you're having fun.
damn. Cheers to that. No, 100%, 100%.
So do any of your like, I don't know if you've been at like other places as well, like do you try to be creative in when you're in different spaces? Does that change how you like write at all, or what would you say about that?
I don't know. I think at the end of the day, a lot of my writing is very like, just in the present moment blurbs, and I think sometimes, I think this one I was very lucky to be very complete, but a lot of times they're not. So I think it is very the same wherever I'm at. It's just very much a present, like whatever is happening, whatever I'm feeling, something I'm just like kind of presenting it.
What triggers it, do you think? Lack of a better word, but what gets you to like, it might just be random, but
It's
you know,
super
'cause
random, honestly.
I feel you. I
So
feel that.
so when you're putting together like a piece, you said you were able to do this one kind of like one go, right? Does that happen often, or is that not really?
I think the difference with this one was it was slightly prompted.
I see. Okay.
So I think this was very much like, I was very lucky that, so I did ask someone, I was like, oh, can you give me like 3 words?
Okay.
And they gave me 3 words. And then I also was like, just with how I was feeling and everything in the moment, I was like, oh shit, like this all like came together very.
What were the 3 words?
Oh, my phone is over there.
That's
I
fine.
think it was optimism, complexity, and then I think the last one was, I think it was guilt, but I'm not sure.
Wait, those are 3 words you picked, or 3
No,
random
that were
words?
given to me.
Given to you, gotcha.
Got it. Oh, those are heavy. Yeah, but that's sick, and I love the way you weave them into the poem. Very nice. Okay, so
That was hard.
do you often like go off of prompts, or is it mostly just straight from the soul onto the page?
I think it's mostly from the soul onto the page, and if it's a prompt, then I'm just asking someone, like, give me a word, give me
Okay.
3 words, give me an idea.
Is it easier that way?
I think it takes the pressure off for me. I think the
I
thing,
see.
I never saw myself being someone who, like, would write. So I think, like, having an idea of, like, a prompt, that, like, freaks me out.
I see.
Yeah.
Puts you
Yeah.
in a cage or a box. Or
Yeah, in a
whatever.
box, and I overthink it. So if I really have to think about what I'm writing, then it's probably not going to get very far.
No, I definitely feel you because you get to overthinking. You're like, oh no, this is too much. Let me do.
I'm like, oh, I don't know if I said that right.
Yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I definitely feel like the idea of a simplified prompt where it's just words. I I definitely feel like that's a little bit easier because you're not. I mean, as Cole over there said, like you feel boxed in. You don't want to. Like, is this within the box? I don't know, but just some words. You can kind of build your own box. If you want. Or if it's an open face box, if that's an open box.
An open face
The
box.
open face box.
It's like an open face
lid.
sandwich and they're gonna sell you toast.
Yeah, exactly.
Instead of box, it's open.
Yeah. No. That's sick. That's sick. Okay. All right. So, when you write, usually, I mean, we kind of touched upon this a little bit as it's from the soul, but do you usually think about how it sounds in performance, or is it more like in the dome piece?
It's more on the dome piece. I don't ever really think about performing because I feel like it's mostly for me a lot of the time.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I usually just think about the flow in my head.
Mm. Got it. No. That makes sense. I know. Like when I first started writing and everything, I didn't even, as you're saying, I didn't even think about like performing or anything because it's like this isn't my notes app. Like this is password protected, type thing.
How does it feel when you I guess either of you can answer this, but how does it feel when you kind of have this thought that it's only being recited in your head, and you're like, you literally just said this for the first time out loud, right?
Yeah.
But it's like we all love that shit. So it's like how does it feel when it's like you're getting off first time and it's like people respond to it, and it's like, do you get anything out of people's responses? Is it kind of just like you're just sharing to like, it's kind of a tricky question, but it's like it's kind of an open question. You know what I mean? Like, because it's like you're keeping that to yourself, and it's like you recite it to yourself. But how do you feel when people respond to it positively? Essentially,
I mean, I think it feels good when people respond positively. I think for me it's interesting to see how people interpret it, or how they seeing how they however they respond is like giving me an idea of however they interpreted it. But I think sometimes though, like when I've performed heavier things and I'm seeing people respond really heavily, I'm just like, damn, fucking emo.
Yeah.
Oh.
My bad. No, seriously, no, and that's, I don't know. That's it. It really shows the power within writing, especially when it's genuine and it comes from like a real place. And it's only when it comes from a real place, I feel like, when people really start to respond like that. And I think, as you were saying, it feels good. And for me, it reminds me, it's like, okay, cool. Like what I wrote was something that was like genuine. People can place themselves in the poem or anything like that. And it's definitely really cool.
Yeah.
And what's also cool is, especially if you're in an open mic sort of situation, people are doing cool things that are genuine, and it gives you ideas for, how you can put your own little stank on it, in terms of being genuine. And I think that's a really cool feeling, for
I
sure.
agree. I think it's kind of piggyback off of you. I think something that I don't think about when I'm writing, but now that whatever I'm performing, I'm like, oh, I don't think about my tone. And I don't think about the speed.
Yeah.
And now I'm like, oh, maybe I should think about that more, even if I'm not performing it, because like you're saying, that's just like another part of it.
Yeah. And I mean, as you were saying, with, how you read it in your head, you start reading it a little bit differently in your head too.
Right.
And you're like, okay, this is like cooler kind of poem. Like, this is a little spice seasoning. Makes it pop.
Spicy words.
Yeah, no, exactly. And you always want it to be spicy. Anyway, so we will be right back with more Kill the Poet after this quick break.